what's been going on with the Harris campaign for president. Um, just, I mean, it's been a whirlwind. What's wild is it hasn't even been, I don't even think at the time of this recording, I don't think we're even at 2 weeks. By the time you guys hear this, I think we'll officially be a little, maybe 2.5 weeks into Kamala announcing her candidacy, which is so wild when you think about it, especially considering the fact that in the month of July, which really is only like the last 10-ish days of July, that Kamala Harris's campaign raised $310 million, guys, in less than 2 weeks. That was, I think, almost twice as much as the Trump campaign pulled in. And remember, Trump survived an assassination attempt this month, and Kamala pulled in twice as much as he did in about a quarter of the time. Let's say about a quarter of the time, guys. So that has been incredible. There have been over 100,000 new volunteers who have signed up for Kamala's campaign, which is interesting because a lot of those volunteers, most of them are under 34, that coveted 18 to 34-year-old range, the young voters. Also, a lot of new voter registration. I mean, the new voter registration has just been like soaring. And again, many of them are first-time voters. Many of them are from that coveted young voter conglomerate, 18 to 34. And last week we talked about the different calls. We had Black women for Kamala, Black men for Kamala, AAPI for Kamala, LGBTQ for Kamala, white women for Kamala, Latinas for Kamala. And we had white dudes for Kamala. And I told you I was going to come back and tell you how it went down, y'all. More than 190,000. I mean, these numbers are staggering. Like, I think before this, the most amount of people on a Zoom was like 800. And we had 190,000 white dudes came to Zoom to support Kamala, to show their support, and they raised over $4 million freaking dollars. Hence this huge $310 million haul that Kamala has made in donations, which also, FYI, a lot of these donations are small donor donations. A lot of these donations are first-time donators. So Kamala is really bringing in like a typically or apolitical, let's say, or non-active or not super active groups, I should say, into her coalition, which is just fantastic. And, you know, at this point right now, we are just waiting for Kamala's VP pick. That should be coming any day now. As I mentioned last week, I'm just like, Kamala, VP Harris, please be very strategic about who you pick here. You do not want to kill your momentum. This momentum is something that, I mean, in my elder millennial life, I have not seen. Okay. So this is like, I mean, please, Kamala, do not ruin this momentum. We talked about some of the issues with some of the candidates, the VP candidates last week. And I posted something about, Josh Shapiro. I talked about him last week and how he is like one of the only candidates who's been like vocally supportive of Israel, and oh God, and just how like, please girl. I mean, we got into we talked about it. I do want to add that his policies on Palestine, on Gaza, on Israel are in line with the Harris campaign and in line with all of the other candidates for VP. So technically, like politically, he's on that. He's falling in line. However, I mean, some stuff came out about him wanting to volunteer for the IDF. Oh gosh, came out about him writing that Palestinians are too, quote, battle-minded for peace. Oof. Now, in his defense, that was when he was 20 years old. He's a grown-ass man now, and I myself have things that I'm so glad, you know, will not be out there, hopefully ever, from what I did when I was in my 20s. Because let me tell you, it was a hot mess. It was a hot mess. So, you know, I can't fault him for that. But he, you know, he has been very vocally pro-Israel. And also, he also compared Palestinian protesters for Palestine to the KKK. It's just not a good look. So I said in my TikTok, and I'll say it here, like, Kamala has too good of a bench. She has too many good choices to risk jeopardizing and alienating the already alienated left wing of the party in such a critical election. So, I mean, I just feel like, why mess with someone who has some baggage, and whether or not he deserves that baggage, it remains to be seen, because some people are saying that, it's interesting that he is the only Jewish candidate in the running, and he's the only one that's being questioned on this. However, someone told me today that actually he's not. JB Pritzker is also Jewish, which in and of itself, just, if that is the case, just, it's like confirms like what the hell we're saying. It's not about being Jewish. It's about it's about your policies. It's about the policies and things that you've said and done. So I just, I personally, oh boy, like I said, I think Kamala has too good of a roster to jeopardize herself by, bringing somebody on the team that will create any kind of drama. However, the Dems have a history of doing this. Nobody wanted Biden the first or the second time around. Nobody wanted him. The Dems have a history of doing this. And so I wouldn't be surprised. People are saying that he is, basically number one in the running. So we shall see. But it's gonna be a tough battle with those Never Kamala and the Kamala leftists who are kind of on the edge, on the fence.